Hey,
Hey, I'm sorry, I had to unmute myself. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
it could be some kind of live stream type setup with an amazing group of people already in the live chat.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Jason's in there, Gary's in there. I see some Juan Bagnell guy. I don't know who that is. Ranesh is in the chat.
And
Michael Pepper Tech is
Vince,
in there.
Michael
Yeah,
Pepper, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
We got
yeah,
Jason, we got a crew. Yeah, I feel like we should just preface this week. I feel like TK and I are both going to be focused mostly on the same thing for the best of our week. One with
yeah.
one with quite a bit more experience than the other.
Just a little bit more.
Just
Just
quite a
ever
bit
so.
more.
Okay,
Can
quite
can
a bit.
can can I air a little dirty laundry? We don't
Go.
talk about the behind the scenes so much. So, we're working with some new folks on OnePlus PR.
Yeah.
We've had long-standing relationship, both TK and I,
Hmm.
from Pocket Now and from XDA and from our own personal channels and stuff. Like we've worked with OnePlus for a while. So they reached out. I had an issue with my email. They were not getting my messages. So when the OnePlus 8 came around,
Oh yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Hey,
Last year, I
yeah,
remember that.
I'd love to get one of them, if not both, but like one of the OnePlus 8s and take it for a test drive in radio silence." And so after everyone else got their phones, I kind of shot them a message and said like, "Hey, this is my personal email. I don't know if no one's ever replied to me." So
Mhm.
the new PR rep got back to me and like, okay, yeah, we'd love to send you one out. And I got my OnePlus 8 a little late. And OnePlus Nord comes around and I agree to an embargo and feeling really good. I've got
Oh
this
yeah, yeah.
video set up. I'm, like you can see the video on my channel. It's not like the video went anywhere. And I'm looking at the dates from the very first email. This is when the embargo lifts. And like, okay, cool. And I push go. I did not see a follow-up email from them saying that the embargo had been pushed back several days. So I
Oh
went
yeah.
live like 4 or 5 days early. So now OnePlus 9 comes around. I think I'm on a list where they just don't trust me with the embargoes. So now that the phone is officially live and released, it showed up this afternoon completely unannounced. Like I genuinely did not know if I was going to get one, but I'm finally on OnePlus 9 Pro plus Hasselblad team, and
So
we
OnePlus
we
9 Pro
we can
5G,
play.
Hasselblad 5G. Yeah, insert all the monikers. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Um, but yeah. I'm glad I'm still on the list.
Um,
For an organization and a brand as large as OnePlus, I honestly wouldn't have blamed them if they had just taken me off the list for breaking embargo.
no, 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 no. I
And on
absolutely
a
no. I
Nord, it
no.
wasn't even like it was something so amazing. I
It's
had to
one of
break
those.
embargo on a Nord.
Hey man, it happens to the best of us. And at the end of the day, I'm glad we're finally able to talk about the same hardware.
For
And yeah,
sure.
and the reality is, hey, look at it this way: you still got it before anybody that pre-ordered it could get it. So you're still ahead of the curve.
Sure.
Just think of the
I,
positives. Just imagine the. No, I'm just kidding.
I got to try and like rock an early video just because we know that YouTube's going to start savaging the SEO on
Dude,
OnePlus about a week
so
after people can really get it.
there is a thing to be said though on embargo launch day competition and seriously like saturation. Like I let's just say this: my speed test, my charging speed test video did better than and I would say not necessarily like a very deep dive, but like my deep dive into the 9 and the 9 Pro.
Well,
And
when I saw that after an hour, I don't know that you'd broken 200 views.
no,
Made
no,
made me sick because I mean, like this is the thing that really bugs about the way that YouTube kind of shotgun blasts something
it
that's starting to trend.
yeah.
The people that genuinely follow your channel, I feel, would want to see certain videos prioritized by
And
their preferences, not by YouTube's popularity metrics. And that kind of
exactly.
stuff is galling when you see like this is obviously not how this would go down if we were putting videos out based on someone's actual preferences or just timeline. Like
Well,
this can't be real.
and the flip side of that, which really kind of was the kicker for me, is that the Arabic channel did way better. like in the thousands right away. Like within the first day, I was like 2,000, 3,000, which is what I typically would expect there. But then I realized I had no competition on the Arabic side. So nobody in the Arabic market received any of those devices. So they wouldn't be, because OnePlus doesn't really market in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So on the Arabic channels, did great. On the English channel, they performed, I mean, according to YouTube's metric, they performed roughly around the same what they expected. But I know that there were some people that didn't even get the notification of my videos till the
No,
next
of course
day,
not. Yeah.
which is totally like, so almost what I'm trying to say is it would have been more beneficial for me to wait a day and post than to
Well,
do it on day one.
didn't Flossie put his out? Was it today?
So there's other people, yeah, no, there are other creators I think that are starting to wise up to it, because the embargo doesn't say you have to post a video then.
You just
It's
can't
just
post it
no,
before.
yeah, it's no earlier than. So so there's things to be said, and then I think the community that you have around you is always very strong. So regardless, I think everybody's waiting to see, is the 9 Pro the golden child that will come and take Juan Carlos's heart as the 8 Pro did last year.
I feel pretty confident jumping in with a couple of hours under my belt here.
Okay.
For folks that are watching this right now, I mean, do we want to spoil my main channel?
Don't we always?
I'm
do
good.
we not always do that though? Don't we always start and
I
say,
feel like if you're in the live chat right now, then you're like a diehard. You're like a ride or die.
Yep.
Member of this community. So
Absolutely.
if I kind of spoil a little of what I'm going to be talking about in my early videos,
JGJ saying no spoilers, so I would say, okay, JGJ, go ahead and just plug the ears.
But and come back at this time code, and then the spoilers will be over. No, I've already started jumping into some of the performance testing.
Yep.
This to me becomes the real data point to compare against Samsung for the Snapdragon 888. And it is so much better behaved. The OnePlus, so I haven't dug into the OnePlus 9 yet, but the OnePlus 9 Pro, I've even got my SIM card in there already. I've got it synced up to my Tick watch.
I switched over. I dumped the S21 Ultra.
I switched it over. My thing, yeah. Against the Galaxy S21, because I'm not playing with an Ultra, and I promise I will get that phone back to you at some point.
Yeah. Speaking of which, bro, what happened to that text message you promised me on Monday? Like, what happened?
Offline, we'll tell you about
there's video proof
that's been going on.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's video proof said you were going to send me a text.
I'm good with accountability. I'm real bad with my own. So I switched everything over. I've already started running some of the performance tests. It's winning and losing battles against the Galaxy S21, but it is so much better behaved. The scores I've got in my benching for the Galaxy S21 are like the daintiest white glove, let the phone perfectly cool for like 20 minutes in between each test, make sure everything's wiped out, don't let the phone run too hot. And on the OnePlus 9, I'm able to just kind of run. Like it gets hot. I mean, just
there's no question. Heat dissipation, the heat dissipation is there, so it's definitely doing the it's releasing the heat. Let's just say this much.
It's getting the device out. Yeah,
that's the whole point. Yeah,
I don't really think the Galaxy S21 is. So I've already done a half hour on Undead Horde. And if you're into Switch style arcadey games, this is a great unit management game. It's strategy. You as you kill the opposing army, you resurrect. You're a necromancer. You resurrect their units, and it's not the most graphically lush game. But as you start getting even like 20 minutes into the game, it hits phones really hard because you're managing a ton of units, and there are a ton of enemies that the computer needs to account for. On the Galaxy S21, it peaked at like 90 frames per second to start, and after about 20 minutes of gameplay, it was hovering in the mid 30s. So I mean, it was only doing a little bit better than a Razer Phone 2.
Oh wow! Okay.
30 minutes on the OnePlus 9 Pro, pegged at 60.
Nice.
I mean, it's like a table. It's just like it is the one of the flattest lines I've seen, and at one of the highest performances I've seen in this game.
Were
Video
you running at a
rendering.
1080p or were you running at a
Oh,
QHD
no. I wanted to see, because I benched on the Galaxy S21,
at 1080?
120 hertz adaptive
Mhm.
1080p, and doing the same thing here. And I don't believe the assets for this game are higher res than that.
No,
Like,
no, what I meant
it's
is
not
the,
the
stress level on
prettiest
the
game.
system. Yeah, yeah, no, no, it absolutely, it's not necessarily just the game. It's just that if you remember when whenever we ever, test out devices that have a QHD and a
Mhm.
1080p resolution option, QHD tends to also tax the system, even if the game isn't running at
For sure.
at QHD. So, but,
Oh,
I
and I
think
would wholly expect these results to drop.
a little bit, yeah.
What I would and I'm gonna try. My hypothesis is we'll probably lose, I don't know, 10 frames per second.
Mhm,
I'm expecting it's still gonna stay consistent. And in a game like this, where you've got tons of little units all over the screen and you're trying to manage these larger and larger maps as you go throughout the game, um, it's a lot more distracting when the game spikes like 50 frames per second, then crashes 30 frames per second, then spikes
mhm.
50, then crashes. It, it's just so consistent. Whatever OnePlus is doing, and especially from their announcement, like, oh, we're putting in this this graphite pad
Graphite
and a
pads,
vapor
yeah.
chamber, and we've got this copper. There's nothing like that in the S21. As far as I've seen from teardowns, there's a copper sheet on the
Mhm.
other side of the screen, and that's it. So the phone literally is cooking itself and then having to throttle, and there isn't any gimmicky pre-throttled low performance mode on the OnePlus. It's
No.
just go.
There is no, yeah, there's no, I mean, you have optimization modes within, like, pro gaming mode or, things like that, but you're right, there's no, "Let me deep dive into the settings, into the battery section to find high performance." No, it's there, it's on, and that depending on the quality, the key, like the resolution and the refresh rate that you use, you're obviously gonna get different experiences, but at 1080p 120, I think it still performs much better than some of the other options on the market,
And
and that's where
have you gone
the
into the
9,
developer settings to do the refresh rate?
enabling it to me?
No, so in the developer settings, there's a mode, and I'm just curious if, because again, I'm literally
Hours.
5 hours into setting this phone up. When you go into the developer settings, there's a setting for display refresh rate, and
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, it's not really a true representation of how the adaptive really scales.
No, it doesn't,
Um, it
especially
only
when it
seems to do 120 or 60, and then it doesn't detail anything beyond that. So I was just making
so
sure that it wasn't something up with my unit or my
no, no,
display.
no, no, no. It's something to do with the way Android is, and it doesn't have a way of adapting to the text. Like, so, it doesn't recognize that there is a variable refresh rate dropping all the way down to 1 and all the way up to 120.
It, it's
I
it's listening to Android's representation of the UI,
Exactly.
not
So it's
what the
I
actual screen is measuring. Okay, then
and that's why you get a bracket between just 60 and 120 because Android just recognizes those two. Android doesn't
right.
think you can drop below that. That was something I reached out and I did have a question on. So yeah, definitely not a. Um, it just you normally would have been able to adapt to it, but they've gone the route of wanting to give you the best experience and save you battery realistically at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
uh,
I more power to them, but I gotta put this out there.
mhm.
If you're into performance, it really does matter this year what kind
Yeah.
of thermal hardware. I'm really anxious about the Red Magic. I want to see what active cooling can do. The A88 is a very finicky stallion, like a very persnickety stallion. Oh, dang it, man, you're ahead of me again. But
Sorry. Go ahead.
if you care about that performance, it's there. I mean, there are going to be phones that I think are going to access it. This is not the year for battery life. We're gonna have
Uh,
these monster battery phones, and even with these adaptive display technologies, if
mhm.
you hit that 88, if you're using a higher refresh rate display, if you're doing anything on these phones, it's not going to be like V60 where I could genuinely get 2.5 days out of that phone with my use. This chipset, this SoC is nuking the battery
There there's a
in my
there's a
OnePlus.
And the weird part about it, I feel like the devices that do pay attention to it that are all going to benefit you know what I mean? It's not like how pretty it looks like on the outside, how well the design is of the camera, the body, and how it's shaped and all of that. Those are, they can take you so far, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, when you really want to use your phone, gaming, taking pictures, videos, editing, doing a whole bunch of things, and jumping from one thing to another on a busy day, like some of
Mhm.
us will end up getting busy days on us. Um, yeah, no, the 9 Pro for the about 5, maybe almost a week or little bit less than a week or so that I've had it is consistently like crazy good. Like there's no,
Mhm.
I haven't been able to stump it. I haven't had a stutter, not an issue. Camera performance has been seriously like shocking me. Like how I
It's
like the
so good.
tuning that they've done. They've done like
The
overly
the the
saturated images.
the
Yeah,
skin
sorry.
smoothing in low light is a little extreme. I mean, it's a little Samsung-y,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
again, a couple early and we had a very overcast day today, so it wasn't like I was trying to take
yeah. I
photos
was gonna say,
to
where
show
did that
off or
happen
anything like
from? I
that.
thought we were supposed to have sun. Like I didn't
It
get the
it it
memo.
it dropped like 20 degrees in the mid-afternoon. I was
It,
like, "Oh, I need more than a hoodie, I guess."
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but the camera performance has been better than expected. The new
Mhm.
ultra wide is insane. It's so good. Literally, I
They,
mean,
they
like I shared it on Instagram. The Twitter version just got wrecked. The Twitter
uh,
compression looks awful.
I was
But
about to say, yeah. Are you
the
cross
same
posting like
photo
I do, or
yeah, and I'm
yeah, yeah.
not manually sending to both, but if you catch the same photo, and there's a link on my Twitter post, if you catch that little bougainvillea blossom,
Mhm.
the macro is I mean that was literally my absolute very first shutter press
Yeah, yeah.
was that photo straight out the camera looks fantastic. So again, I'm already losing patience with a certain flavor of tech commentary that's like, well, I tried using the cameras and I guess it's better, but like OnePlus, the cameras are still not good enough. No, these are already
They
proving to be solid. I think Samsung's
why
going to win for telephoto,
mhm.
ultra wide, and video. I think OnePlus is gonna be an early lead in 2020.
That
I mean,
4
2021.
have you tried the 4K 120 yet?
No, I haven't. So I've been
Dude,
shooting 4K 60 for a couple early
so
samples.
so good. Over the weekend, we had a little bit of a get together with my in-laws, and they were playing with balloons and stuff like that. So my son was playing, so I fired it up with 120 on 4K. So good, clear, crisp. You slow that sucker down to 25-50%, still absolutely clear. You crop into that, and you like absolutely. So I included a couple of shots of those in my video. I even shot some raw footage. I wanted to kind of bring it over and start editing it. Really nice, really, really
Yeah.
nice. Focus peaking built into the camera. A lot of little things like this, the little things that you appreciate. Um,
Yeah.
so to me, honestly, I've been enjoying playing with it quite a bit. The front facing video, not so much, but front facing HDR pictures actually do quite well. Like it does
You know,
actually do a good job with the background and
I
foreground
I I
exposing. So it's not
I
bad.
felt like, again, from a social media-y kind of
Hmm.
perspective, from the OnePlus 7 on, I feel like their selfie shooters have been above average for stills. Like, if you want
Still,
that
yeah,
kind of juicy, vibrant, saturated Instagram kinda look,
yeah.
OnePlus 7 on, I haven't seen I haven't seen anything that these people that complain like, "Oh, their selfie cameras are garbage." And you're like, no, they're not the best, but they're upper mid pack." I really wish they'd get after video. Like,
I wish they
again,
would change
shooting
the
video
sensor.
on the S21,
Yeah.
the 4K and the 4K selfie video on the Wing was really good too.
Well, they've done 4K. What I don't real understand, and it's a weird situation, maybe. And I know you're going to probably jump on me with the TK. You should be shooting with the back camera in the first place. Don't even get into that. Um, but
I
like,
mean, do
why
you
do we?
just not
What?
love your family? Is that the problem? You just don't
That's
wanna
hot.
capture those memories in
I,
good
I,
quality?
I, I so sometimes I like to distort history, especially with bad moments. So that's what I like to do. No, no. Michael Peppertech actually had a good question saying, why is it always kept into 1080p on the front-facing camera? And it's something to do in general. Like we've always had that. Like Samsung seems to be one of the only ones. LG, crossed that barrier as well. But like
Mhm.
typically, other than that, like Xiaomi, Poco, insert a Chinese manufacturer. For some reason, there's an accepted norm that 1080p, and now we have
Is it?
1080p 60.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's accepted. and it's never been pushed. The Nord for us, speaking of the Nord at the beginning of the when you jump into that conversation, that was literally the only OnePlus that had 4K on the front,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that was like their focus on that because of the mid ranger and so on. But no other phone that OnePlus produces does more than 1080. So we want to be able to see, with newer maybe sensors or higher megapixel sensors. Honor did the same thing. Huawei does the same thing. They just don't need. Actually, I take that back. I'm not sure if Huawei is not on 4K on the front. I want
I
to
thought
say
they were.
Huawei. Yeah, on the
Are
with
they?
that.
Because I honestly thought Huawei was still 1080p, but again, I didn't think
I
it was
I
one.
think with the new Kirin SoC, they went over to 4K. But I'd have to double check. I don't have one within arm's reach. Let's just say that. Uh, and the Oppo N1. Sorry, yeah. So there's a few devices. I think JGJ is mentioning there. There's a few that are like selfie specific.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. I mean, for vlogging, especially when you're making it lifestyle, like I think that's a good feature that people would like. But you're right. The back sensor is very nice, and that mirror finish on the phone makes it so that you don't even have to worry about centering yourself. You could literally see yourself in the phone.
I from the OnePlus 8 Pro on, if it's daylight and I'm
Hmm.
shooting a photo from that rear sensor, I got really good
Hmm.
at seeing my reflection in the lens. Like, you can see your silhouette in the lens. The lens is that big now.
They're
Even
massive.
better
Yeah,
than ever.
they're massive
It's
sensors. They're
huge.
the two good ones, I would say. No, I actually got pretty good with it too. I don't have a problem using it. I actually like the performance on the back sensors way more. It's just that in the moment where you need to take a picture and so on, like we went to like Balboa as well,
Mhm.
and massively packed with
Oh,
people.
man,
Anyways,
it's kinda
l-
scary too.
it was almost as bad as the last time when you and I went there and we had that little thing. It was more.
We're
And
sitting at a table just, like, wearing masks, and there's, like, crowds of people and people walking by, like, staring at us, like, "What are you doing
let's do
sitting
it.
next to
Yeah.
them?" And you're like, "You're in a crowd of, like, 10 people.
It,
It's not
it, it, wa-
us. We're trying
it
to stay
was
away from you."
we're trying to. It was yeah. So Balboa Park is definitely a very big place that not that far from us. So that was fun. We took a lot of pictures. I even let Omar use it a little bit, and I'm trying to build up his Instagram and so on. So we were trying to.
Nice.
He likes to take pictures. He has a good eye. Like he has that. Almost like like when you're able
I
to
mean,
set up a shot.
you did it right. You get them started young, man.
You
Again, it's crazy, like, he's got stories to tell,
Mhm.
empowering him with good tools to get out
Good,
there
and the
and
camera.
share
Yeah,
that. So
exactly.
great.
So I'm very happy that he's enjoying it. So we try to keep, we're trying to consistently try to produce content. So he loves the 9 Pro. So that was the phone I got him to start on. Prior to that, it was
You're gonna
just
spoil him with that. That's awesome.
if you're gonna start him up there, so he has to shoot higher. No, yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, no, I think even the nine is actually has some good performance. I mean, they
Mhm.
decided to go with the same ultra wide, which actually I think was the great. Like in my
Good
video, I,
call.
I kind of I felt like a lot of people may focus on the 9 Pro, but the 9, like the entry level OnePlus received a lot of updates this year. Like they focused heavily. They
Yeah.
really brought it up. They didn't do that massive compromise that they typically do with the 8 and the 8 Pro. Like they made them look like each other last year, but they had different speeds on the RAM. The sensors were
Mhm.
different. They were using the 7T's sense. Like there was a whole bunch of um I would say tailoring, the best way to explain it. Uh, but dude, seriously, fast. OnePlus 9 is definitely crazy fast. So when you get a chance to play with it, you'll see the performance is mirrored. Like it's day-to-day activity outside of the sensors, you're going to see a very similar experience with a flat display.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is
Mm.
early, so I don't wanna, like, d I don't wanna, like, make a promise here, but my mom's on a OnePlus 6T,
Oh, that's right.
and she's wanting to install, so she's got a Tesla. So she's, like, all nerded out right now,
I, I
and
I
she
I remember the conversations we've had. Yeah, your mom is diehard Tesla all the way.
and she genuinely likes, like, her OnePlus is a conversation to make fun of other people, like, in her
Mm.
quilting circle.
I love
"Oh, what
that,
kind of phone is that?" "Oh, it's a OnePlus." "What is that, like a Samsung?" "It's like a Samsung. It's a
but it's a
OnePlus."
OnePlus. No, just kidding. No,
So
no, no.
what's the name of the
If
phone?
anybody ever asks you, say, "Is that a Samsung?" No, 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 honey. It's a
It's a
OnePlus. It's a
OnePlus
Samsung, but then a
6.
OnePlus. Yeah,
And again, she like doesn't help them. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
my mom is like the best geeky gatekeeper for
She's
this kind of
enjoying it.
stuff.
She's
But
enjoying.
because they make those little like they make these inserts under the Tesla console. So they've got like a
Oh,
couple
okay.
USB ports, but you can add other things there, like if you want to have a hard drive or if you want to have like a wireless charging unit. I think
I've
she
seen.
wants to
Yeah.
go to a phone with wireless charging. And
Oh,
I'm
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
thinking the OnePlus 9, the OP9 might be your jam because she's not really going to dig on the newer, more better main camera sensor, and she's not going to
Uh-huh.
care about quad HD at all.
But
So
I
I
think
think
at
that's going to be
1080p.
good.
So in my just for a little bit of also a little bit of teasers on some stuff, dude. Battery life on the 9 is hella better than the 9 Pro because you're at 1080p 120. You're way better. I mean, don't get me wrong. On the 9 on the 9 Pro,
Oh,
if I have
I'm gonna say
120 in QHD, I'm
hours.
going.
I am nuking this. I'm charging it again. Like it's plugged in right now. Hold on, let
It'll
me
be
put on.
done in 30 minutes. But it'll be done before we're into the next subject, my friend.
I've
That's
got like warp chargers all over the house because I'm nuking this phone.
I think no, no, seriously, the changes that they've done this year were I like I'm loving the fact that relationship they have with Oppo. They picked the right parts. They're
Mhm.
finally starting to actually dip into the like we've wanted fast charging from Oppo on OnePlus devices for years. 65 watts is not new for them, right? The accessing it and using it is not new. Um, AT brought it in, so we finally started, yes, it's finally here. But they brought that in, 50 watts on the charger, on the wireless charging is also crazy. And it actually stays cool. That was the other factor that I really liked. OnePlus held on to their true statement when they said, if we were to bring wireless charging, we're going to make sure that it stays cool. That it's, I mean, and when I mean cool, even virtually cooler than what you typically get with chargers
Yeah.
that get very hot.
It still runs a little warm, but comparably,
Yeah,
it's
compare.
pretty much
Uh,
payback.
at the maximum I was able to get it was like 94 degrees Fahrenheit, so it didn't even get that hot, not above 100, which I typically would see. So
Mhm.
all of the things that I'm testing on it, all of the things that I've had an opportunity to play with, I'm very impressed. I'm not saying it's a perfect phone, but it's definitely a massive upgrade from the 8 Pro from last year.
Mhm.
And I'm loving the color science. I'm loving that they've decided to tone it down a little bit. And
It's everything that I was saying. The 8 Pro had the hardware.
yeah,
I still hold to if you got a good feel for what the 8 Pro hardware could do,
hmm,
you could drive that phone and do things you'd never be able to accomplish on a Pixel or an iPhone or any of the smaller sensor, even some of the medium sensor phones,
hmm,
like a Sony. Like the raw files off of the 8 Pro were neck and neck with the ultras from Samsung. I mean,
absolutely.
just
12-bit
stunning,
raw and 10-bit raw on both.
stunning.
Yeah, I
Some squishy bits in the software that I'm already seeing at this point last year where we were with the 8 Pro
mm,
camera was a very frustrating experience. The 9 Pro camera, I haven't found anything that's messing me up like we had last year. So if they can refine
there was a
things,
few. Yeah, it needed a few more updates. I would say. You know how like it's like the Microsoft release. There was a few more updates before it kind of got the right
Mhm.
calibration. They did a lot of their initial few updates were focused heavily on camera performance, and you'd see that in the changelog. So it wasn't like they were hiding it.
And like out of the box, because obviously this isn't technically released yet because the phone hasn't shipped to
Oh
people or
no,
it's shipping now to people.
yep.
I mean, I got the day one update too, and it was like, yeah, fixing the color science of the main camera and adjusting the video flu. What is it? There's something like adjusting the video fluidity or something.
So even for us, when I got mine, the first thing they told me is make sure you hit the update. Like there's an update that you need to update because
Right.
but I think when it came out of the factory, it didn't have that, or they didn't have the image loaded there. But you know, I would have to say this. Look, I'm pleasant. The only other phone that I've had that I've been pleasantly surprised out of the box was the Mi 11 from the sheer just the fun, the experience. I understand there's some concerns with it overall, but I think just as far as like getting it out of the box and getting excited about the phone, I felt like the Mi 11 gave me that excitement.
Mm,
But the OnePlus 9 Pro, I've been waiting ever since I heard about what the FX3 was going to do, I kind of hoped that the OnePlus 9 Pro was going to learn, and it did, and it really did. There's a lot of good things. So if you've ever liked the OnePlus and you wanted to try them, yeah, truly a very good improvement. And the 9 also, just I think, just to answer JGJ, I think he had asked a question there. Yeah, Hasselblad is actually Hasselblad tuning was done to both. They're both branded Hasselblad. So yeah, just everybody
again,
talks about the 9 Pro more for some reason.
I don't get why techies are so dismissive of these types of partnerships. I remember being at Pocket Now. Excuse me. Sorry. I remember being at Pocket Now when Huawei really started talking up Leica.
Leica, yep. No.
So we started getting into those dual sensor cameras, and Huawei didn't have this this reputation for photography. They weren't that smartphone company back before the P9. And so the P9 comes out, and it's just every techie tripping over themselves to, oh, but nuh-uh. I mean, they're not really Leica lenses. And you're like, from the P9 on, we saw a Huawei that was untouchable in photography.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, do you have pretty colors? There was a color science that was unique to that phone. There was a photo feel that was consistent. There was a Huawei Leica vibe that you could only get with that hardware software combination. And even when they went from multi-camera arrays back to single large camera sensors, Huawei was well ahead. And they treated their phones in much the same way that a standalone camera manufacturer, like you talk about Canon color science or Nikon white balance or Sony photography, you're talking about an aesthetic that's very specific. So
Absolutely.
if this is the beginning of something like that for OnePlus, I need people to be more excited about that. OnePlus's biggest problem has been consistency. A OnePlus 5 camera looked nothing like a OnePlus 6 camera. The OnePlus 7 came in and gave us weird, funky HDR colors. If they can have another company come in to tune this app and to tune this post-processing to say, hey, this is what you should look like, and moving forward, that's what they can accomplish, they'll finally have the hardware-software combo that we've always accused them of lacking. Lately, they've had the hardware. The hardware has not been holding them back.
No,
this is
definitely
the right step for them, is to get a company that can kick their butt on the camera app.
I'm like I said, I'm what I was very happy is that I didn't want it to see that brand or the collaboration that we've seen Hasselblad in the past with the Motorola and the Zoom concept.
No.
Well, but no, but that's, I think there may be some reviewers that may be going into this expecting that type of a relationship.
Sure. That is a reviewer who doesn't know anything about Hasselblad. That is a reviewer that stumbled on a poorly thought out Motorola product, and that's what bothers me, is like you're either purposely missing the forest for the trees. Like you're taking that at its worst possible conclusion, and then prejudging the phone based on that, and not really looking at the output of what that kind of a pairing can accomplish. If it's Zeiss and Nokia, if it's Leica and Huawei. What was for the BlackBerry Priv, there was a lens manufacturer partnership, and people forget that the camera on the Priv for its time was a phenomenally good camera. I can't remember what the company is. But again, I mean, it wasn't like they were a lens manufacturer and they had done some work with BlackBerry on their camera app. It wasn't like they had that lens in the BlackBerry Priv. It was they're working with a photography entity to improve the look of their final output, the look of their processing, and how this sensor, interacts with light to then get squished, move through a JPEG process, and you get a better photo at the end.
Trying to remember
Partnerships have a tangible effect. They have an improvement. We think nothing of Sony color science on an Xperia, but that's the Sony Alpha team kicking the butts of the Sony Xperia
team and telling them, no, this is how you do it.
We've got Hasselblad engineers kicking the butts of OnePlus software designers. That's win-win. That's just good for everybody.
Oh, no, like I said, I'm very excited about that. I can't find the camera collaboration or the camera optics, the
I
camera
mean, it's over there. I just can't reach it.
just outside of our reach. But no, I mean seriously though, Huawei has done like Schneider? No, Schneider.
Schneider. Is it Schneider?
I think it's Schneider. I
think
think
it's
that's what
Schneider, yeah.
Aditya is jumping in with Schneider. We're gonna take Schneider going once, going twice. Schneider it is. It just sounded like something else right now when I said it.
I do not speak German.
Ich bin nein Schneider. Schneider. Yeah, I think it's basically. I think it's Schneider.
Kreuznach.
Oh my God, Aditya is really challenging the team here. And okay,
but
Schneider.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a lazy
Kreuznach.
Schneider. The Schneider
yeah, the Schneider Kreuznach.
Short story, incredibly long. If you missed out on the shooter on the BlackBerry Priv, you missed out on a respectably good camera, like a camera that actually outperforms what we thought a BlackBerry would be capable of. That's all I was trying to say.
No, I'm with you. I unfortunately did not get a chance to play with the Priv. I think it was, I don't know. I think it was it more was it Verizon or AT&T that had the Priv? I forgot. I would think was it
mine was an AT&T.
Yeah, because I remember it was just not on T-Mobile at the time, and I was like, I wasn't during the time when I was able to buy as many, or not to say that I'm rich, but I'm just saying, cycling through phones as many as I try to do nowadays. But yeah, no. So bringing it back, kind of like a little bit with the way Hasselblad's been doing it, I think the camera modes are definitely very. The tuning on them are done very nicely. I do really think at some point those OnePlus should at some point upgrade the front-facing sensor. Not to say that the cameras, like the stills, are not good. I think video would benefit more from maybe a slightly more updated than its 16 megapixel. It's the same sensor on both the 9 and the 9 Pro, and also the 8 and the 8 Pro, and the 7 and the 7 Pro. That's what I'm just saying is I think they probably focus so much on the rear sensors, which I'm loving. And as one would say, that's how you should take pictures and videos. So that they definitely I'm happy with them. And the wide angle lens, very seriously, like video with the wide angle, and even just being able to take like night photography, night side, they're really good. Very, very nice out of the camera, and colors are way better. I haven't done a lot of skin tones. Like I haven't taken portraits or anything like where it's a little bit low light. It's been more skylight, trying to get a little bit of trees and night skies and stuff like that. So it's been working. I like it.
Give me a second, because like again, I'm still kind of cracking into this. So I mean, like I've got a bounce light, like I've got a fill light. So this isn't like a normal indoor light selfie. But I just took one photo off of the selfie and one photo off of the rear camera sensor. And
there's a little bit of a difference, yeah.
Over here. And again, I think you'll be able to see.
yeah, no, they're good, but you'll definitely know which one is the first, which one is the front. And an HDMI output is still on there, so if you want to, I don't know if you want to plug it in. Bring it in. By the way, how you doing?
No, I'm gonna screen share it here. Just a sec.
No. I while you're doing that, seriously though, I forgot that we didn't even get a chance to check in. Are you doing okay? Better week than last week, or wait, last week was a great week for you. Oh, hey, nice. I'm feeling better too, but
it's just lots of good things, but lots of balls in the air. So we're juggling to try and keep everything going. Why did you copy all that? Sorry, I'm trying to do this live, and of course that means I'm doing this very poorly. So.
That's usually how it goes, my friend. So while we're waiting for Juan Carlos to figure out how to transfer pictures from his phone to his PC, wait, are you going to transfer to the PC or?
Yeah, I've got it here. I'm just going to share.
Okay, good. And so we're going to be doing a quick test right now. Everybody, please. I hope you guys have been taking notes. We're going to be taking pictures real quick with Senor Juan Carlos. Let's bring that in.
It should be up there. So this is from the rear camera. And if you kind of get in there, which again, I mean, I'm shooting this
blind
from the rear camera. and then I need to zoom all the way back out. And
Yes,
then,
we wanted that detail on the beard, by the way. We wanted to count
so this is from the
the
front
front.
camera.
Yeah. You can
You
see
can
it's a little
kind
bit
of see
soft. Yeah.
it's fine. Like again, I think this is fine, but like just my skin tone,
Mm-hmm.
the pink because of like my psoriasis, like I always have like kind of pink on my cheeks. That's perfect.
Yep.
That's exactly correct. Off the selfie, it's kind of given me a warmer, sort of flatter tone,
Yep.
which is not as correct. But even for the red of my shirt being captured more correctly,
Speaking of which,
opposite my
that's
red
my
hat.
shirt. I don't know why you're wearing it, but I have the exact same shirt. I don't know. Like we should have talked before this. But yeah,
I,
no.
I feel like a number of us have this exact same Target special flash
I was
retro
about, so
shirt.
I got it from Walmart, but thank you, Target, Mister. I go to Target all the time. No,
Yeah, I'm Mr. Moneybags over here. So
that's
yeah, I mean, this is just straight off, yeah, like off the cuff, kind of a quick and
oops, sorry,
dirty
didn't
photo
mean to go. Wait,
comparison.
hold on. What are we doing here? Okay, TK's
There
bringing
you
us
go.
back. Yeah, here we are. No, but that seemed to be my experience as well. I feel like the rear sensor worked really good. Um, I would say outdoor HDR with the front was also kind of really, pretty decent for what it offered. But I prefer to take the with the rear sensor always. I mean, I don't know who it is that kind of made it, drilled that into my brains at some point last year.
Hmm.
Don't know. Some hashtag guy takes pictures with the back sensor. Um, but it for me, the excitement was met. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like when somebody when they hype up something, when they push for things, and then they're like, but then no, well, you didn't really mean this. When you get the phone, you really need to kind of like do something, whole bunch of stuff for you to get that night photography that we were showing you at the launch event.
Hmm.
They delivered. They really did a good job. I wanted, so I'm still working on trying to put out more content, more things to cover it, and to kind of just do the comparisons between them and other devices. A lot of people want to see a comparison between it and the Pixel. I don't think this is a true, like I don't.
So immediately, I feel like this still reinforces, like, if Peachy were
Mhm.
listening to this, he'd be like all hashtag Team Pixel in our live chat, just kind of wooting, hollering and stuff. If
If
your
Joe was
need
in the comment, he would probably do the exact same thing. But yeah,
right, if your needs are a very sort of straightforward point and shoot HDR kind of experience, I still don't think anything has bested the Pixel.
yeah,
I still don't think the iPhone has bested the Pixel. Google's most recent camera app, that casual push shutter button, get a photo that you can trust, and
hmm,
has a consistent flavor of how the HDR is applied.
yep,
I think the Pixel is still the camera to beat, and that you don't compromise as much on the video. Since the Pixel 4a, Pixel video has gotten substantially better than what people think it is. And
yeah,
and when I do walk and talk vlogs, they look real good off of the Pixel A series phones, let alone the Pixel 4 XL and the Pixel 5.
yep.
Um, what you so I kind of did this on Easy's Eric's
Mm.
stream for Easy Computer Solutions. I don't want to hear anyone talking average consumer on this phone. It's $1,000 phone.
Thousand
There is
plus, yeah,
no
or well,
average.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
That doesn't exist. There is no average. I only want to cover the basics and I only do casual sort of point and shoot. Maybe I use the camera twice a month, but I better spend $1,000 on my phone person. That person doesn't exist. Where I'm excited about the OnePlus 9 Pro is another step from where I was on the OnePlus 8 Pro,
Hmm.
where once you get a feel for how the phone handles light, you can drive that sensor harder than the sensor on a Pixel, being a smaller sensor. You can drive it harder than the sensor on an iPhone 12 Pro.
Yep.
You can drive it harder, even just that little bit harder than a Galaxy S21 or S21 Plus. That's where this gets really exciting. When you're in challenging conditions, when you're trying to maximize dynamic range, not fake software HDR, but
HDR.
like the actual real sensor performance.
Mhm.
And you have some expectations of starting to replace standalone cameras and laptops in your sort of carry tech. That's where this phone starts making a lot more sense.
Yep.
If that's not the need you have, I mean, it's always cool to like pick this up and I just want a nice phone. I'm not going to fight you on that. But if your needs are Pixel 4a territory, buy a Pixel 4a and save yourself the money and
Mhm.
don't worry about, where you're going. If you want to push beyond that, we have hardware that can be driven to a different tier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you really need to understand what the capabilities are and what you're trying to use. Like you said, if you're just looking for a point and shoot and you want to get that consistent photo that comes out consistently, like just crazy good for the longest time, that's one thing you cannot mess with the pixels.
I mean, I
Um,
had to go and do that reset dance with my V60, and
yeah,
so while I was kind of
with
getting my
Android
V60
11,
back
yeah.
up, my SIM card was back in the Pixel 5. I mean, again,
Mhm.
I while I'm stressed about fixing another phone, I turn to this phone because it's the most
Mm,
straightforward communicator. Like, I just need
yep.
my email, I just need to get phone calls. That's it. I don't wanna bother with something while I'm dealing with, like, the dual display getting kind of futzy or I've gotta, like, hard reset the phone and replace all of my apps, and I don't wanna go from a backup.
Yeah.
So Aditya has a quick question here, if you don't mind me,
Yeah, yeah,
jumping on
no.
this.
You're talking about this one, right?
Harder as in mess around with the controls and maybe shoot at the sun? I actually am curious. So, I shoot I like to shoot in a very contrasty and dark style.
Mhm.
Um, my favorite styles of art are like pre-Renaissanceian. I
Okay.
like dark canvas with like a single face. That's sort of the highlight. That would be the light or the focus point. That's what draws your eye. But when you look
So
at the
like
whole canvas,
more like
that's
a single light type of photography, like a single
again,
like yeah.
when we did that Sony workshop, one of the I've kept in touch with him. One of the presenters, Miguel Quiles, he built his reputation on single light portraiture. So
Yeah.
instead of having like a triple light or like, hey, get an edge light and then fill in here and then use the flash, he's like, someone who's this tall, you need to set up a light like this, and the light might be 8 feet away, but that's what you're going to need to make sure the exposure's on this. And I love that single pinpoint. That's how I like to compose. Our phone cameras are good enough where your composition, you can take that kind of composition into account. You
Mhm.
can craft and you can try to draw the viewer's eye. It's not, this is why I don't like Samsung, is because Samsung tries to lift all the shadow detail and it makes everything bright. And I feel I lose my subject. Like if I'm taking a photo of a light colored flower, I
Mhm.
try to frame it so that it's surrounded by dark greenery and dark soil so
Yep.
that it really pops. Like that should be the focal point. That's where exactly your eye should.
Your eye should be going straight to.
So when I say driving this, it's the combination of the slightly larger sensor gives us a shallower depth of field. It gives us better dynamic range to work with in the pro mode. It means that our composition can be crafted, adjusted, manipulated, and I've got a better safety net. So maybe that light flower, to get what I want, I don't want to just underexpose, but maybe I've got to clip a little bit on some of the
Mhm.
highlights. But if I'm shooting in RAW, I can walk that back and I can save the shot a stop and a half.
Yep.
That's really driving the sensor. It's really pushing it. So
And
so moving beyond
you can
flowers,
preserve the shadows too when you're playing and you go back and start editing it. Exactly.
S-curve it, and then you can really drop, and you can really make it dark around your subject without having to, like, do a burn or dodge or anything like that, and I don't like it when it's too Photoshop manipulated for dark
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything. But that's also what I'm trying to take into consideration when I'm shooting shots of my daughter. Like,
Mhm.
I've got that I don't know, have I ever shown you the one? Did I send you the photo of the first time she watched Star Wars?
No, I don't think
Okay.
we
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't share it publicly because I don't share photos of my daughter publicly, but, offline, I'll show you. So, it's we turned the living room into a movie theater. We got
Mhm.
popcorn and snacks, and Marie and I had sodas. She had a juice box. Lex had a juice box. And, it's just as Darth Vader is about to shoot Luke off the Death Star.
That's hard.
And I caught the moment as the Millennium Falcon
Mhm.
comes swooping in,
It's
and it's this
it's
side shot of Lex, and she is in
I've
that
never seen
moment.
it.
She is wholly invested in that moment, and it's dark. It's the dark living room, and it's just as the Millennium Falcon. So because the Millennium Falcon flies in just with a star behind
Nice.
it. It's
Yep.
kind of like backlit because Han Solo riding in to save the day.
Exactly. Yeah,
Old spaghetti western. So the TV is just blowing her face. Like it's just the light is just perfect on her face. Is like her hand is cupping and her jaw is dropped and her eyes are there. And like those are the types of moments that I want to compose for and know what my phone camera is gonna do.
You
Like
do. Yeah.
so I caught that on an LG, and I only could have nailed that shot because of how familiar I was with how LG cameras work. And
And
I
how
know
yeah,
like how far I can push that camera to kind of capture a moment like that, to keep the shutter
that is
speed
nice.
fast enough to freeze it, to highlight her face without blowing out her skin, to make sure that the rest of the scene around her is dark, to kind of give it the mood. Because I want the movie theater mood. So that's kind of what I mean. And like I get really like feelsy,
Mhm.
like real emotional about that kind of
It
stuff.
is it's an emotional experience. You're crafting memories. It's not just a picture of a flower. It's a memory that you want to keep with you. Like especially that moment with Lex. It's not something that you could recreate even if you wanted to. You cannot. It once it moves on, if you weren't able to capture it, that so yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that's the beauty of of smartphones these days. They're getting better. We're starting to see some improvements in the optics. LG's been doing it, and like I said, for me, OnePlus is. I mean, they've said they focused on it, and year over year, we get that gradual improvement. The 8 Pro did quite a bit for us, but like I said, once I truly saw what Hasselblad was doing in here, and I like it. It's making me more excited to see what other updates they could push in maybe new modes, new features, or maybe what could they do with next projects like down the road, because they did say they're already starting to work on the next collaboration. This
Yeah.
is the beginning of the collaboration, not the end, and I hope that they continue for a while.
So
Yeah. So
this is why I get a little prickly when it's like, oh, but it's not, what average consumers are going to do is shoot on a Pixel, and you're like, I
there's a
appreciate
consumer
that.
for the Pixel, and then there's so the story of OnePlus, though, that if we really look into it consistently, OnePlus has worked for years to get to where they are now. Right? They
Mm,
started up as the never settle and so on. And I know a lot of people like to back on them, though they never settle. They're set. The reality, you have to look at it as any entity to continue doing what they want to do and provide the consumers products that they would love, for people that want to buy. They need to improve. They need to keep pushing it. And it was a gradual improvement.
mhm.
What we have now is truly some of the best work that they've done on the hardware as well as on the software. Their display, the color on that display is phenomenal. I mean, last year's was also great. The 8 Pro was one of my favorite, like the fluidity of the display, the quality. That's just the colors are very nice.
Mhm.
And we're seeing some of those benefits from Oppo. Realistically, 10-bit color on a OnePlus 9 Pro, LTPO display, 1 to 120 frames per second refresh rate, variable refresh rate going up and down. And the whole thing is smooth. The transitions between the lenses is smooth. Did you know? Did you try switch when you just that we don't get that knee jerk? Like when it does that little switch, we like, ding, and then
And it tries to trick you by like fading in and out,
yeah. But
and then
then
you
you get that
press
like, doop,
lock up.
yeah, like
So
yeah. So
and I need to keep pointing it out because it didn't get enough love on the OnePlus 8 Pro, and it's gotten better on the
oh yeah,
OnePlus 9 Pro. Is while you're shooting 4K at 60 frames per second, this is the only phone that will let you switch between the standard and ultra wide lenses. And I know that sounds small, but there are so many times, again, I'm chasing after Lex. I don't want to stop, switch cameras, and then start a video again. I just want
you would have missed.
to
Yeah, you
flip.
would have been totally done. Exactly.
She's too much of a Tasmanian devil. Like that's over. That gap, and especially as the phone always needs a second to cycle, kind of
Mhm.
buffer the video that's being saved, and then it can kind of get you. No, don't do that. So I really feel like, especially here in North America, Samsung far and away right now leading telephoto. The
Yep.
telephoto game on Samsung phones is proper strong. I don't like their marketing, but I do like their crop telephoto. Their crop zoom is eminently functional. I just wish they
You don't
wouldn't.
want to take pictures of the moon? Is that not something
No, no,
you
no,
don't
no. I
aspire?
wish they wouldn't lie about calling it a hybrid, because it's
Hmm.
not. It's
Yeah.
not. There is no hybrid optical. There's a moving element on the Ultra, but on the S21 and S21 Plus, it's just crop zoom.
Crop.
There
Yeah.
isn't an optical component to that. I wish they wouldn't muddy the waters, because they've got something unique on the Ultra that's not what they've got on the S21. And to me,
It's a dual telephoto on the Ultra, not single, dual. Yeah.
and that's a move that is intellectually dishonest in the way that I don't like Apple marketing when they talk about specs either. You know, like they call both the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max 12 megapixel professional camera systems, and you're like, no, they have different sensors.
Yeah.
Don't lie. And that bothers me. The flip side of that, where Samsung's game on the telephoto is really strong on the S21 and on the Ultra, I I don't see anyone except Huawei even close to what this ultra wide game is like on OnePlus right now.
Right
It's
now,
just
yeah,
a completely different animal.
it is. It is. And like you said, there's a very you won't notice that you need it till you're in that moment. You're taking a picture, you're taking a photo, or you're taking a video, and you want to be able to switch that the ultra wide, because the scenario is serious, like you're chasing your kid, you're running around, you're at a certain distance maybe when you started the video, but then at some point or another you catch up and you're close and you want to be able to fit the whole thing in there without having to step back and trying to recompose. You want to still be able to be part of the experience. That option is absolutely fantastic at 4K 60. Now, that is not going to transfer over to the 4K 120 because that's primarily on the main shooter, which makes perfect sense.
Perfect
For
sense.
that type of photography, you're not going to be moving too much. You're wanting to capture the moment exactly with the right setup, the right experience. I feel 8K is also very good, considering what's it called? The S21 and line can only do 8K 24 frames per second for some reason. I don't know why we missed out at 30. Like, we're not good enough to get the extra 6 frames for some reason. But no, I mean, seriously, like
No,
every other
I'm
manufacturer's done 8K 30, but Samsung
I,
decides.
I'm gonna harp on this a lot in my OnePlus coverage. You know, these are phones that are similarly priced.
Mhm.
I think Samsung cut corners for the thermals. So you end up with a phone that has a difficult time outperforming Snapdragon
Built-in
865
throttling. Exactly. It's
pre-throttled
built-in
out of the
throttle,
box.
pre-throttle out of the box, and set to 1080p 60 for some reason. Just if you don't know to change the setting, you're automatically using a 1080p 60 frame display, which
Okay, I had to try. So 8K, you can shoot 8K off of both the main sensor and the ultra wide, but it won't let you switch
no,
while
yeah,
you're
it's
so
that
you have to stop there.
you are pushing it slightly too far, my friend.
A little harder.
Bring it back, bring it back,
Let me make sure I
bring it
get back
back
to
one.
4K 60 so that
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't
Set it.
accidentally shoot a whole bunch of 8K samples when I don't want to.
People are like, wow, Lex looks amazing. I can crop down into and count the hairs on her head. What happened?
Oh, see, I like when we went to 4K, I was like, I'm gonna shoot everything in 4K.
Mhm.
I've been less jonesed about 8K. The
I
combo
don't think.
of high frame rate and
Mhm.
4K is to me the best balance, where most of this content is going to be viewed on 1080p and 4K displays for the time
Wi-
being. But then
Exactly.
if I shoot 60, I either have an
30 or 60.
unnaturally smooth shot, or if I want, like, I can finish a video in 24 frames per second and have like built-in slow-mo and speed ramps and stuff that I
Yep.
can play with. So I kind of like the flexibility and the versatility of like this medium resolution but faster frame rate over having the top resolution option but at a slower.
We're not at the point where I feel like 8K is functional yet. I think 8K is a nice to have, but realistically, like, even if you did shoot in 8K, nothing can play 8K. Not even the phone you shot the video on plays it really in 8K.
There is a science-y
Hmm.
benefit to shooting 8K. So I wrote this article when we were really starting to push 4K on
Okay.
smartphones. And I don't know, I mean, you'd see Marquez like, oh, well, but no one watches. Everyone watches on 1080p. If you shot 4K and you actually watched a 4K video, not a compressed down to 1080p video, but the actual 4K video on a 1080p display, you still ended up with a nicer image than if you'd shot 1080p and played it on a 1080p because of how
YouTube compression.
well, no, not compression.
Oh,
It's the color compression. So
okay.
we only, if we shoot what is it, 420,
Mhm.
we're only getting a quarter of the color data. The light data is full resolution. We only get a quarter of that. So when you squish a smartphone 4K video down to view on a 1080p display, not through compression, like you're actually playing the full video, but it's only
Mhm.
displaying 1080p pixels, you get a color data point for every pixel on 1080p. If you shoot 1080p and you view it on 1080p, you only have one quarter of the color data.
Oh, okay.
So your image is going to be softer and less detailed. You get more clarity, you get more image. And technically, the same thing would happen if
If
you
you did
shot 8
8K.
and watched it on a 4K display. You should end up with a sharper, better color representation for every pixel on that TV, having all of the color data
Mhm.
for that display. Still don't think it's worth it.
No. And I don't think our devices are built in with storage that can handle that much. Like, imagine if you were shooting everything in 8K. The other thing that you also lose right now where we are, I think we haven't seen the improvements that we want to see with 8K the way we've seen with 1080 or even 4K. So I want to see the higher refresh rate. I want it so that you get that little bit of flexibility, because 8K 30 right now, like the 865 maximum was supposed to do 24, but I found everybody was able to push 30 frames per second. V60 did it right out of the box.
Mhm.
Um, and I know we know the 888 can do it, but then we still see manufacturers, I don't know why would Samsung not do it. I like 8K for me when it's nature, when it's like a massive scene that I want to be able to you just take in, and I love using those type of shots for 8K. But when I'm using it for moving subjects, when I'm using it for my daily experience, if I want to share that content with family, I still feel like 4K 60 for me is the sweet spot that I love using.
Mhm.
So I stick to 4K 60. The moment I get a phone that does 4K 60, I switch it onto that for the back sensor right out of the box. Then, and of course the front is whatever the maximum. But for me, I like the 120 I switched to 120 purposely to do that little shot with when they were playing with the water balloons, and then I switched back to 4K 60. So
Yeah.
it's that sweet spot, and the fact that it looks really good and it's stabilized. And I also like the fact that they have 4K 30 frames per second stabilized video. That's
Yes.
also something that you don't see on other phones. A lot of people don't realize they have 4K stabilized, not just 4K, not
Mhm.
just 1080 stabilized like most devices.
I
Uh,
was so bummed because like when when you do like the super steady modes,
mhm.
I don't know. I seem to remember on S10 and S20 that you would switch into super steady and it would tell you,
You're doing in 1080. Yeah,
yeah, it's
the
reducing
resolution
the
drops to
resolution,
1080.
something. The S21 doesn't. So I got all excited. I like, oh, is it going to
I'm
do 4K super steady? And I shot a bunch of samples and I'm running around, like there's these little hills and stuff. And like, oh, I'm getting all this great footage. And I get it back to my computer and it's 1080. It just didn't tell me that it was going to drop it down to 1080.
Yeah.
That was
Uh,
lame.
The only caveat with OnePlus though is that it is at 4K 30, not 4K 60. So they do, yeah, but it's still very nice.
But and also it's the software stabilization on these things have gotten stupid, just
Oh,
shockingly good.
crazy, crazy good. Like, so yeah, no. There was one thing that I would probably say Oppo does very nice with the Color OS update that they did, is that they have the Ultra Steady Pro mode, which actually goes a little bit wider lens on the back sensor when you're shooting with the back sensor, which I
Yeah.
feel like that's a little bit that so you're using the main sensor obviously for at the stabilization, doesn't use the ultra wide, but with Oppo they're able to push that and give you a little bit of wider field so that you're able to fit more when you're walking and talking, and it's not just that nice little 16:9 frame of your face. Not that it's not a beautiful face, but
I feel like that's going to be maybe one of the next hybrid functions is so now that we've got these super megapixel dense ultra wides, is maybe enacting sort of a wing style gimbal mode
hmm
where you've already got a wider lens, so you already have the natural focal length benefit of wider lenses not looking as shaky,
hmm
and it's already doing a whole bunch of image manipulation to make it look more rectilinear. We know that it's probably more of a fisheye,
yeah.
barrel distortion kind of view. So then if we just center punched on that, you would have a lot of float room to kind of manipulate to stabilize that shot. I really feel probably not for the OnePlus 9. I don't think OnePlus could just tack that on as a software feature, but I think, looking at what they did, what Google did with the Pixel, having
hmm
specific stabilization modes for content creation, lateral panning, more gimbal style software
And I
stabilization,
like the way they did it. I like the categorization that they did it in there. The
really,
approach was done very nice, and you know
really
exactly what
simple.
you're using.
Oh,
Yep.
so clean.
The
This is
cinematic
something that
pan, like
I
by
really
default,
think
yeah.
that OnePlus could champion and give us kind of something like the Wing had, where you had a little bit of a float. Like you can
hmm
kind of pan in the shot now that you know how you're going to be compressing or adjusting the distortion on that image. So fingers crossed. Like if this is the next stage and we get a consistent look and feel to
hmm
OnePlus photography, that's a huge win for competition. But then also just it's exciting. Like it's exciting to see a company actually step up on this stuff.
Exactly, and of course our buddy Fat Produce is like, and a lovely shade of orange on the OnePlus 9 shutter button is just very
Well,
very
I mean,
nice.
I think we've completely buried the lead. I mean, what people want to care about the most, they need to know. I mean, it feels really nice in the hand.
I was about to ask that question, but
Yeah,
okay, you
you can
keep going.
hold it with, if you've got an evolved primate grip, so some number of digits and kind of an opposable thumb, it doesn't like cut your hand open.
Oh, good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it
That's how I
it,
like
it
my phone.
you can kind of you can see what my fingers are doing right here. This phone does this really well where my fingers can like wrap around and hold it and manipulate it. Almost like it was designed for some
hmm
kind of like,
Fingers,
yeah,
phalanges.
you know what I mean? It's really fascinating. I mean, it's just really nice.
But
So
I will say though, weight management though, balance, it definitely has a really good balance in the hand. So
hot take, hot
yeah,
take, do not like where the fingerprint sensor is now. It was mounted higher on the OnePlus 8.
it
It's too low
that,
on the
that
OnePlus 9. Fail. Better luck next year.
it's the same spot as the.
I know because it's got to be the screen. It feels like it's a little bit larger. Like if the
The
I don't
little bit
know that they did the Samsung, like Samsung's sensor is well improved for size. Um,
they're in the same
yeah,
spot.
they're right
Yeah.
there.
I don't get me wrong. So if you have face unlock and well, short answer, yeah, you're right. The placement of the sensor is a little bit low. I feel I'm not sure why even on the FX3. Like I mean, it could have been both. They should have kept it because the FX2 Pro wasn't that low. Like both what I'm saying, it was almost like it was a. I don't know if it was something to do with the panel. I don't know if it's something to do with the design itself, but it's not too bad for me, honestly. I got used to it.
Yeah.
It's more of a just yeah.
The only reason why it sticks out is because I agree with you.
Mm,
There's these are tall and skinny phones. Let's not pretend like. Well, first of all, let's not pretend Sony is shocking anymore when we've got phones like OnePlus.
absolutely. Yeah, this is like a what 21 20 by
Is it
25.
20.5 by 9 or is it
Yeah, I was gonna
20 by
they
9?
had yeah I was trying to figure out, is it 21.5 or 20.5? Yeah, it's 20.5 by
So
9.
for how well mannered the rest of this phone is, that the weight around the top where you would think the camera module might make it tip
A little bit
just a
tip.
little
Yeah.
bit more, it stands out to me more that the fingerprint sensor is so much lower.
Quite a bit. Yep.
So much lower. And that I noticed right away because I'd gotten used to the OnePlus 8. And that was very natural for where my thumb would land. And now I have to move
Even
on
on
the
the S21, it's quite a bit. Well, also it's much bigger too, but it's higher. Yeah, and I feel like that's the right spot. Realistically, having it close to where your home swiping gesture technically usually happens. I don't feel like that's the right spot to put it.
like
You
it.
want to be a little bit higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, but you know, like what I said is it's consistent, it's fast, it's as fast as it used to be. Shortcuts are also easy to set up on them, which I really like. That little shortcut function, holding the fingerprint sensor a little bit longer brings up those little shortcuts, just quick one-handed things. You know, you want to jump into your favorite Instagram application, as my as my son loves to do now. No, seriously, he likes, like, he'll take a few pictures and he's like, okay, let's post it to Instagram now. And then he's like, so who liked it? And he's very much into the numbers. He's like, who's
Oh
who's
man.
yeah. So
Well,
Aditya
I
is
told you
one of his fans, so he's happy.
so Lex is I need to be one of his. I'm so not on Instagram these days, but I need to give him just the extra follow.
Yeah.
Um did I tell you that we caught Lex? So for school, she's starting
Mhm.
to do some in-person classes, but it's a really, really short day. And
Oh
most
yeah,
of her school is still Zoom
at
and
home, Zoom
online.
and
And so she has these assignments where she's just got to like tell the teacher what she did on this worksheet. And she started, well, thank you so much for watching and subscribe. And you're like, oh no,
oh no.
oh no, she's
She's
5.
been and she's listening to me. That's too much. No.
That's not okay. She needs to stop knowing what daddy does for a living for a little while longer.
I like that. But the question is though, did the teacher subscribe though?
I mean, like, so we've got a parent teacher conference coming up, and I need to ask her, like, so uh, I make videos online, and she learned it from watching me. She learned it from watching me.
Me. I am so sorry, but no. You know what? It's a form of flattery. I mean, obviously she's intrigued. She finds what you do intriguing, which is good.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's super cute, but it's also like, yeah, again, same
not the
thing
right.
for Omar. It's like, enjoy the creation, enjoy the content. Don't worry about the likes, man.
Yeah,
Just
it's not
it's
about the likes.
okay. Don't worry about that.
I know, and I think it's more. I'm trying to influence, or help that part of the experience grow. Just do it for the fun of it. Don't do it for the likes, because you're never going to be. You're never going to be able to reach that, get whatever you're thinking that the likes are going to give you. At the end of the day, if you enjoy what you're doing, people will enjoy watching you do what you do, and that's the fun part. Like the group, everybody hanging out with us. We have Andrew, we have Aditya, Gary, all that. They're hanging out with us on a Thursday night, chilling, kicking back, and just listening to two guys
Mhm.
talk. And we were talking just right before the show about the whole, the vaccines. They changed the ruling in California, so it looks like
Mhm.
we'll be able to qualify a lot
Getting
sooner.
closer, getting so much
Ooh,
closer.
very, very, very soon. 15th of April will be when I'll be able to qualify. So it's very, very close. I'm so now, like I said, when I say these things, to me, there's that hope that, at some point during the summer, like in the middle of, summer, you and I can actually get to hang out. You know what I mean? Like it's
No,
those are the things I'm looking forward
so
to,
close,
getting to
man.
somewhat of a normalcy in seeing each other, and being able to just go find a good ramen place. I did not get a chance to do the recipe yet. I do apologize. I did get the recipe from Juan.
No worries. We're gonna be making up another batch of it this weekend, so we'll eat double for you, and
Can I
I'll just
can I
send some
drop
quick
off the ingredients, or maybe get the original recipe? That's good.
vibes.
I'm
But we're getting close, man. I mean,
yeah.
again,
No, it is. It is.
it's
I
just like keeping our heads down for these last couple months, and then I think we've got it'll make a lot more sense, and we'll have to tag Josh. We'll have to go hook up with Ricky.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Josh is actually, I think Josh has gone through his both. Oh no, first. I think he has his first thing, but Ricky here? No, Ricky's not here yet, right? He's still in Florida.
no. I mean,
Oh, Ricky. Oh, I'm sorry,
the
Ricky.
YouTube tech guy.
Sorry. Peace.
I think
I thought
he's down farther south of us now. So he used to be
he
a little
moved.
bit closer, but
Oh
he's
yeah, no,
still like,
he was literally like between us at one point.
yeah.
And
So
I think he moved.
I don't want to like dox him. Like, well, this is his address, and if you want to go bug the YouTube tech guy, you can. No, I think he's now further south of where I was. So again, I mean, like, it's close enough.
It
We
is.
we could meet. We could triangulate and try and meet and like get a burger somewhere that
Oh, dude.
is equidistant from each other.
Oh, do you remember like what was it called? Bristol Farms that we went that one time? We had the Impossible Burger together. That was nice. You
Yeah.
remember in Sherman? Was it Sherman Oaks? Yeah, it was Sherman Oaks. It's but like I said, those are the things I miss those parts. So that's partially also what I'm looking forward to. So I'm really excited about that part. I heard the news today, and I will. There'll be other things I want to talk about that I heard today as well. So, but we'll keep that for later. Um, very excited about some good things coming up in the very near future. I can almost smell it. Let's just say that much.
It's gonna be good.
Uh,
But
um,
seriously, like from last week where I felt like we were both kind of crispy on the edges. We were so burnt out.
I,
I
yeah,
feeling pretty good about this week.
it was a tough week. Last Thursday, weird enough, I know I don't know how or what it did, but honestly, hanging out and talking and even playing a couple of games with the DT, which I've been practicing by the way, and just so that a DT knows, I've been practicing. So um, it was very therapeutic and very helpful. I
Good.
started to feel better by the weekend a little bit more. And I, on the Saturday show, it was, everybody, it was a really good show. A lot of people hung out. And so for me, it was kind of like the way I was able to rejuvenate, get back into kind of the workflow and just have fun with it. Honestly, I need to kind of take it less seriously in certain times. But like just for the sake of things, like for the OnePlus 9, I produced 4 videos that were roughly 15 to 16 minutes each on my
Mhm.
English and Arabic channel, and that's a lot of work, guys.
A lot.
The between content, between images, editing, and then I'm having this weird machine issue with my PC every once in a while. I use a Shuttle Pro. I don't know if you've ever used those
Mhm.
little. So for some reason, my Shuttle Pro on my PC on my desktop, if I go hard on editing, like I'm using all the buttons, like I'm literally like just pushing the machine, my PC crashes. So
That
yeah,
sucks.
just and I can't seem to figure out if it's a USB issue. Whatever the error is causing exactly what it is, but it seems like something to do with the Shuttle Pro specifically because I have like I it's so good as a tool. But anyways, so I'm trying to kind of slow down work a little bit better here. It's just the 9 and the 9 Pro was a lot of work, and I it was fun.
And you've
Like
got so many more phones to talk about too.
yes, this month is not finishing. It's yes.
So
I got
I
the F3. The Poco F3 came in today as well. That was nice.
I did hear back from Xiaomi,
Oh,
literally
nice.
the first time in my entire smartphone career where they've replied to anything
I'm glad
that
they
I've
did.
ever sent them. So hopefully I can start joining you guys on some Mi's and some Redmi's and some Pocos in the future.
So you're
But
gonna be able to see me, 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 me.
me,
No,
me, me. I mean, the second I get one in my hands, it's gonna be finally a me for me.
yeah.
Because I mean, like, I don't think I've spent any time with one since the Mi 9. And even before then, it was like I would poke at one with a stick at Pocket Now, and then like I don't know what I'm doing with this.
I started pretty seriously with the Mi 10. So the Mi 10 and the 10 Pro were pretty much my entry. I started with the 10. That was actually I was very surprised with the build quality and overall performance. But seriously, MIUI 12 has been like something happened when they went to Android 11. The optimizations they've gone, both Oppo and
So
Xiaomi.
and from watching your videos and from seeing a few other people, like especially Josh and Issa have been talking
Yeah,
about me a lot lately.
yeah, yeah.
It seems like we finally got over that hurdle where MIUI and this was also sort of my I think a fair complaint for EMUI on
Hmm.
Huawei phones. There was that stark hard split between what was an Android interface and
Hmm.
then what was this tacked on
Skin,
customized
customized
skin.
skin. Yeah.
And it seems like they've finally taken that time over these successive because I wasn't particularly impressed with MIUI on the Mi 9.
Mhm.
because you would get to a point, and it was kind of like, if I did just like a fancy skin on the outside of Windows and then went to like the Windows XP settings,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like pretty DOS. And obviously not that stark. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to make UI sound that bad, but there's always that point where you can't you can't take the metaphor any further, and then you end up somewhere that is incongruous with the custom software that was really pretty on the surface. And it
Absolutely.
seems like MIUI 12 doesn't stop. Like there's no point where it's just suddenly a different UI or a different mechanism or a different skin. Like if you're adjusting the settings on the home screen, it's silly how the haptics and the audio cues
Mhm.
play with how you control the customization of the home screen. And that's
Yep.
something that like never seemed to gel. And now it's like they're firing on all of those cylinders. It makes a custom UI, even a heavier skin,
Mhm.
so much more palatable when all of those little details are accounted for.
Absolutely. And then I think their jump from 10, so MIUI came out with Android 10 before it came out with Android 12. Sorry, 11. Sorry, we're not at 12 yet. Sorry, wrong version. 11 did bring in also some optimizations, and they're also promising us 12.5 in the near future with even more control over the bloatware or some of the pre-installed apps that they have on their devices. So they're starting to listen up a little bit more. I mean, there's the ads that are still part of the the first party apps that they use. They're still built in ads into them, but it is limited into where things are, and you're able to control a little bit more. So like, I'm hoping for 12.5 to come out. The F3 that I got, I think, is still running 12 and starting MIUI. So when we say Xiaomi or when we say MIUI, we're talking at the on the I guess the not the plethora, but like the the spectrum of devices that Xiaomi produces, because
Too many.
MIUI is on everything.
I'm
Well,
I'm reading up. So they finally got back to me. I got some press releases. Like I have some kind of chain of communication now. I'm trying. I am trying to catch up. And Redmi's, Poco's, the Mi 11, Black Shark. Like there's too much. There's too
there's
much.
a
There's
oh,
so
speaking of
much.
which, Black Shark is, if I'm not mistaken, I think the announcement for the
Didn't that
Black
come out
Shark,
today?
is it today?
Black
I
Shark
thought it
4?
was. Yeah, yeah. But in China right now, so that's
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
Chinese
Not
variant.
not the global, but
No, no,
like
global.
they
I
at
think it'll
least
be
have
a little
said,
bit.
hey, it exists. Everyone's going in on these shoulder triggers, man. Even OnePlus, but I like what Black Shark is
I,
doing with
I
these
I couldn't
magnets.
find those shoulder triggers, that the accessory that they were selling on the website. It's not on there yet. I
I mean,
looked.
they showed it at the press conference. I didn't feel it was real. You know, like it's not
Well,
real,
it looked
real.
like a render, right? Because they didn't really show it really, but
Totally.
I've been using it with Kishi. Kishi, man, seriously. Other than the fact that, like I said,
Got it up there.
with devices that have headphone jacks, I think Kishi is usually a pretty good controller to play with. So that kind of
I'm all
just to
about
get it.
my Steel series, though. I still love. I mean, it looks goofy when you've got that phone cradle and it's lifted above your controller, but man,
No, I
I
don't.
dig it.
I got the Xbox, the mobile Xbox controller. That's the exact same thing. But yeah, and it comes with the claw, with the, it's meant for the Xbox Pass. But yeah, so with that, kind of like going on, I think I'm looking forward to spending more time with it. Still a few more things we'll probably get a chance to talk about in the near future. I'll say that much. Um, and hopefully, it gets a little bit calmer before the storm again that picks up in May and so on. So we'll have to see. I don't know how April's going to be, because March was
Well,
like.
I was talking about this on Eric's stream,
Mhm.
and I feel like the second half of this year is going to be is going to be rough going for a lot of consumer electronics. We're going to see component shortages affect the auto industry, the
That's true.
appliance industry, and it kind of makes sense, like if LG were to get out of the premium tier smartphone market,
Hmm.
this would be the year to do it. By now we would have heard some more rumblings, not just like, because there was like a specs leak and like a render leak for the Xperia 1 Mark III.
Hmm.
We would have heard something more direct from Sony, I feel, by now. And
Yep.
it seems like they're going to be slow playing a little, where
And
the
maybe.
Xperia 5 Mark II took a long time to really make it to market at the end of last year. I
I
think
think,
this is
yeah.
going to be a rough, the second half of 2021 is going to be a rough year for some of these players that kind of operate at the not at the fringes, but they're not like, they're not Samsung. And
Mhm.
even Samsung is, I believe, the some of the rumors on this, that Samsung is likely, looking at ending the Note. The pressure of that is in part because it's going to be hard to keep up with all of the components. They've got a Galaxy S21 Ultra that has S Pen support. They've got to put stuff in all of these folds in the second half of the year. Why complicate things by having another premium flagship
And
device?
if they do truly follow through and provide pen support for the Fold and pen support to the S line, the need to push for it is
They're
not as strong.
cannibalizing their own market. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just basically saying, like, why would you, right? Like, why would you pick up an S21, a Note 21 Ultra, if whatever they end up calling it, where the S21 Ultra does the exact same job that was released earlier in the year and probably has the same specs, maybe even bigger battery if they do what they did last year. You know what I mean? Like those typical things. So we'll have to see it. It is definitely going to be an interesting approach. I did see though Snapdragon releasing the 780 today, so that was an
Yeah.
interesting. That was a big, like, for me, the moment I heard 780, I'm thinking Pixel 6. Pixel 6.
So
Pixel.
here's what I'm hoping is Pixel
Oh,
uh
the 5A?
the Pixel 5A
Mhm.
going 780 and then the Pixel 6 going 870.
So here, yeah. So the F3 is the first 870 I've actually gotten my hands on.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very exciting time because like when you hear about a chipset, the refresh and so on, you always like, well, I wonder how does it really perform. I haven't had a chance to spend that much time with it. I literally like almost the same amount of time you spent with the OnePlus 9 Pro. I've spent it with F3. That's how much. But I can tell you that the already I can see the 865 feel of using this device, like the processing power, the performance overall, like the UI elements. It's snappier than a 7 series. You could already see that. And I'm happy that they decided to go with the 870 on that one. That was like a very good decision. 5G for F3 is definitely pushing the limit there. So looking forward to checking it out. But yeah, if they go with the 870, that's a smart move. Better bang for the buck kind of for pricing. Still get 5G connectivity. The architecture that you had basically that was very well proven last year. Very good, solid move. And I think with with Google's software, they can make sure everything works perfectly.
So
I'm excited.
I think that could be a really because again, I also feel like component pricing, where they're going to try and fit this phone into the market.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be a challenge with the Pixel 5. Pixel 5 was $699?
$699 at start. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got Galaxy's full MSRP in that $700 territory. You've got the Pixel 5 at $699.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be tough for Google to explain to consumers why a Pixel 6 is suddenly going to be an $800 phone. So
No, I think
I feel like they've got to find
a
this
way
would
to
be a
keep
good
it.
time to bring the XL back and sell the XL at a higher price. Keep the Pixel 6, the smaller one, kind of the follow-up to the Pixel 5, at a more $700-$750 price range, and then really lean on the A series Pixels to make sure your daily driver, bread and butter, the phones that definitely sell the most.
No, yeah,
Are
and
well.
we already saw that from the leaks at least that they're bringing in a second sensor on the A series, so you could only imagine what they're doing on the
Yeah,
regular
for
series
Pixel 5a, I mean, really, all I want is the Pixel 4a 5G in the form factor of the
of a
Pixel
5
4a.
4A. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that could be pretty much what you get
Pixel
if they
5a,
get if they
done.
if they if so what I really got excited though with the 780 is that they're using the same triple ISP setup. So the improvements on the 780 is definitely very much like there could be a conversation to be said for them to go 780 over the 870 purely from the
Mhm.
architectural improvements that we got them. So, but 780 still needs to be proven. Does it have the same concerns as the 888 with the heating concerns? Is it definitely could not? Obviously, there's a lot of things to be said, but uh, we'll have to see. We're still early. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's still March. I mean, let's wait and see. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see how things go. But I'm happy that like I said, where we are right now. Uh, we've had enough. We've had both of us have
We've
had a
had
few
enough.
devices. We've had enough devices. Well, not enough, but I'm saying both of us have had access to devices with the 888, so we've had a little bit, a few flavors to look into. It's not just one flavor, one design, one company, and you're stuck with
I
it. So
I
we'll see.
I feel like this is a wide open market for performance junkies.
Hmm.
888 is getting better with manufacturers that are taking the thermals seriously, and they aren't
Exactly.
just like, we'll improve the performance of your phone by throttling your phone.
That
That's
that
not
that to me,
fair.
yeah, that was a new level that I did not expect. That was something that I was just like, and I pointed it out in my first 10 things to do, that you need to know your phone
Yeah.
is throttled. You need to know you're not getting you're not getting the Maserati you were promised. You're getting that, Ford Escort or something like that. That kind of
But
looks like it from the sense, but
eh, um, but I feel like this is the right year to push even harder on the idea
mhm,
that the sort of premium tier flagship device, I feel really does need to be talked about in a more niche capacity.
mhm,
Um, like I'm playing with phones with 700 series Snapdragons that operate great. Like
crazy 7 series,
the
absolutely.
Wing
Hmm.
4K 60 video that rivals the V60, dual camera video if you want to go like gimbal mode and have like a vlog shooter. I mean, like there's nothing holding this phone back.
Hmm.
And it's not where we were years back. Like if you had a Snapdragon 614, you could barely navigate through the UI without jank all over the
Jank
place.
and stutters, yeah.
So if your needs haven't changed, if you're like my wife where she was on a Snapdragon 845,
Hmm.
she doesn't need more than a Snapdragon 845. In fact, the Snapdragon 845 was still overkill for what she
For what you
needed
needed,
just to get
yeah.
her stuff done. So going to a Pixel 4a 5G kept her at the same performance tier, but you paid less because you didn't try and max out this stuff.
Exactly.
I think the Snapdragon 888 really does occupy a conversation where if the manufacturer takes the thermals seriously, you're going to be in for an incredible gaming experience. This is going to be a hot rod and also a hot rod
Hot rod, yeah.
for any kind of like content creation, laptop replacement kind of use. If that is not your bag, I genuinely think you're going to save money and be happier
Yep.
at the 700 series. Maybe an 870 if you really want to be a little nicer or a little fancier, but seriously in that 760 zone where how the 780 plays out,
Hmm.
it makes so much more sense to me to
Yep.
float that level, get the bigger battery life. Like I'm playing with that Moto,
Hmm.
5,000 milliamp hour battery on a Snapdragon 700. That's ridiculous.
It exactly.
I
It's
had the phone
but
for days before I had to charge that phone up. I feel like there are more consumers who are going to be impressed by having a phone that can run for 3 days on a charge while using it and
Mhm.
being on 5G than are going to be so impressed by my 4K video render times when I'm doing complex video projects from my phone. Like they're going to care way more that they only need to plug their phone in a couple times a week, rather than, oh, but do I have the most horsepowers? But I need the most horsepowers. Does this one have the most GBs? That's not that's not as tangible a benefit for these people that are trying to just get through their day.
Oh, no,
Uh,
exactly. And they're gonna be using this phone for quite some time, so they wanna make sure it's consistent, it's there, and, even the overall, bang for the buck type of an experience, if you really think about it, at the end of the day, when you go in and decide on what you're getting, you're gonna there's a few factors. One of them is cost. Sorry. But the other one is, realistically is, and I'm not gonna say how it feels in the hand, but it's really more about, the core features that you're looking for. Are they met? And does it build on what you've known from them before? So Pixel has a very good reputation for years now since the Pixel 3. I'm hoping they continue it. The 5A looks very promising, and we'll see what happens with the 6. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens there.
but I think there's something, I pick up a Pixel 5 and it's got a 90 hertz display and it's got a great OLED and it gets stonking good battery life.
Hmm.
You also use it in a different way. It's like I'm not it's a smaller communicator phone, so my interactions are briefer. It changes the psychology of how you pick up that phone. And I look at the OnePlus 9, and I wonder, if there aren't consumers who, if we could, sort
Mhm.
of blind, like we could scrub off the labels and put two phones in their hands and just say, use them and see which one you dig. I'd be curious to see how many would veer on the side of, I mean, they both seem about the same fluid.
Mhm.
Like the screens are pretty close, like they're both really good screens, but this phone can last me almost 2 days on a charge. And this phone, when I'm using it, I might need to recharge it at dinner time. Like I wonder if that difference in chipset or performance will manifest as a negative, where the phone's running hot, it's physically hotter. I mean, like you start using it, it's gonna get toasty. And
Mhm.
then, like I said, I nuked the battery OnePlus 9 today while trying to run through some tests. I feel like all of that extra horsepower, all of that extra torque, if they don't have a reason for it, if they don't have a use for it, to me, that's just going to manifest as battery draw that they don't want. It's going to
I
manifest as
a
battery drain that
and
they
it's gonna turn into a bad experience, which means at some point or another, somebody will probably choose another brand next time they go around. You need to be able to build that into the brand loyalty if you're trying to even emphasize it. Like I said, when you're trying to buy a new phone, your only major experience is what you came from. If you were happy where you were from, this is why people stay in the Apple ecosystem. It's because they started from one side and they're wanting to stay in that same experience. um, that's truly the benefit. And the more right things you do by your customers, by providing them the true like either be it thermal control, thermal management, faster charging, all of those things matter, and it builds it as time goes on. And I'm very excited to see the fact that OnePlus is in carrier stores, and actually T-Mobile is going to carry both of them. They're not
yeah.
doing the same thing that happened last year where they only got the 8, not the 8 Pro. This year they're getting both the 9 and the 9 Pro, so that's very nice. And I don't know how, but T-Mobile gets the IP certification, but the rest of us don't officially. But that was. It's okay. I'm good. I'm with
Yeah,
that.
I,
I'm
I
with that.
bet I bet you, and again, it's why like Verizon got a slightly different OnePlus 8.
Yeah,
When you work with the carrier is on the hook for things like the financing. And so I bet you, however T-Mobile is doing the financing and the survivability of these phones, they probably mandate
so
an IP certification
yeah,
for the units that are sold directly through
in
them
their
and
stores.
financed through them. Yeah, which to me would also make me wonder. Like, I'd love to see iFixit. Not anything against Jerry rig everything, Zach. He's really fun gadget destruction porn, but I would want that clean table analytical teardown of
Mhm.
an unlocked OnePlus 9 and a T-Mobile OnePlus 9 to see if OnePlus built the same phone, but is only paying to certify a certain line,
And
a certain
everybody,
manufacturing
yeah.
batch of OnePlus 9s, and that maybe we all tangentially get to benefit. They just don't
Want to?
certify because the certification costs them a little bit
Oh,
more per
yeah,
unit.
and OnePlus has been on record saying why they haven't done it in the past because of that specifically. It's a cost thing. But we'll see. We'll have to see. It was just this is the second time. Last year, the 8 had the same exact scenario. So to me, it was like, okay, I see what happens. T-Mobile keeps, it's okay. Des
I'm
loves it.
into your
Des
game.
loves
I
having it.
see what's
We
going.
should one of these days maybe try to see if we can get Des on the line. He's
I would love to get him. I mean, like just chat with him. I mean, again,
yeah,
doing his unboxings. The wing video was hilarious,
dude. He's the
and his
only guy
OnePlus
that
9
does
was solid too.
productions. His unboxings are productions. I feel like I just like, can you just send me the footage, bro? I'll just put it in my video. That I don't even know. I can't even come
Well,
close.
and it was like from last year to this year. He's even aren't they starting to incorporate like some of the display tech that they use to
Mhm.
shoot Mandalorian? You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
do your unboxing?
That's it. Yeah, yeah. It's a great, like I said, it's a production. It's crazy. It's fun. Let's just say this much. He's the one guy that loves unboxing, and he's taken it to the next level. And you could see how much he enjoys doing it too. And he's a lot of fun. So I'll actually I'll reach out to him at some point. We'll see. Maybe we
For
can
sure.
work something. timing wise. I want to say he's on the same time zone as we are. He may be just further north, Seattle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I could be wrong, but
Not that we want to dox Dex and Des.
Des.
Oh
Mm.
Jesus.
This is what happens when Juan stays beyond a certain point.
Okay, no, but to be fair, I've been doing desktop mode stuff out the wazoo because I still haven't sent you back your phone.
Oh, dude, yeah, no hurry at all. Like I said, I was just messing with you when I was saying about the text. I was just,
I got another laptop dock.
Oh, is it the new one? Wait, another company or another?
So this is gonna look really familiar. So my camera's not gonna autofocus very well here.
Oh, you got the brand new one with the folding option when
so it does the wrap
the
around
next
hand,
time.
right? This
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my unit. Yes,
this
I'm waiting for
is
mine.
a U perfect. U perfect. I forget what the full name is. It's a terrible name. It's like U perfect X laptop dock.
Oh, okay.
When you turn it on, it's called the phone book. Hold on, let me.
I'm loving the it fell off a truck almost conversation. No,
I might have killed the battery, so maybe it's not going to turn on now.
So next stock's supposed to be releasing something very similar.
Next stock's 360. So U perfect beat them to the punch. And it's very similar in terms of like the port layout and the connections and stuff. But been playing with this, really nice, very nice. And again, it's just like,
is it touch?
Yeah, touchscreen. So again, it's full wraparound. So you can use it in tablet mode. You can prop it as like an external display in a tent mode if you want to do it that way. Still an HDMI. There's a memory card slot, headphone jack. The speakers are super weak. They're not great speakers.
They're never. Yeah, I've never even on the. Well, that's not true. The next stock, the last generation got better. Yeah, it did get a little bit better. Yeah. Sorry,
but again, it's. I leave one of these, like it was a next stock touch before, but now it's this U perfect. And when I'm sitting at my dining room table,
thank you, by the way, I
plug my phone in, and it's like there's another computer, and I do laptop-y stuff or computer stuff, and it's so immediate, and it's so handy, and it's so accessible.
It is.
And then like this, I didn't even bother for that access, that mini PC. I didn't bother trying to hook it up to a regular monitor, keyboard, or mouse. I used it exclusively through plugging it into a next dock.
I did the same thing. Yeah, it was very
so handy.
It was like such an ingenious way of like using a PC stick as your PC processing power on an X dock, and having and then having full touch control. Oh, nice, the phone book.
And so then I don't know if the Next does this.
Does Yellow Pages know you have their phone book?
Right? I can't. Oh, come on. Are you not going to do the thing? It's got the full monitor display controls.
Oh.
But it's now not letting me. All right, let me try one more time. I've been. It works way better when you plug a phone into it. So I'm trying to.
When in doubt, do it live. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we're doing it live. All right, it's not gonna play ball here. I'll try one more time.
It's okay. We'll all make sure to check it out when the video drops as well. Dude, Joshua Vergara is in the chat. Just
hey. Josh, I've got a killer recipe for a chicken mushroom ramen. It's stupid good. I need to get your opinion on it because I think you'd dig it.
Ramen chili. Okay.
There we go. Okay. So it has all of the full monitor and just turned off.
It's okay. No, I think I got a glimpse of it. I got a glimpse of it for like 2.4 seconds. Right there. Yeah, exactly. And it goes.
It rotates because I've got it, so it thinks it's upside down. Surprisingly good. Not when you're not trying to put it in a little live stream window.
Yeah.
Not great. But yeah, so I've had Dex and Screen Plus on the brain. So trying to say Docs, Dex, Dax.
and Dex at the same conversation.
That was an incredibly long trip journey to get to that explanation.
Yeah, definitely. Josh is looking forward to that recipe, of course.
Oh, I will get it right now.
I was going to say, Josh, we were talking earlier before you came back. I came on, and can't wait till we're all, vaccinated and everything, and so we can all get back, get back to hanging out and grabbing some ramen or some foodie spot that Josh knows about that apparently I didn't even know existed in Elliott County. As usual, that's the fun part with hanging out with Josh. He always knows these spots that only Josh knows, and it makes you feel like you've never lived in LA till you met Josh, but. It's always a lot of fun, and even he and I haven't had a chance to hang out for a few months now too. Last time we went, I think it was the Arboretum. We took some pictures, I think, and so on. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice when we're able to get back into things. But
right,
I think
to the Telegram, Josh, it's in there.
So the telegrams. Hold on, let me see. Did you send it to him or to me?
I did it to our group chat.
Oh, okay. That's what I was gonna say because I was like, I got it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think overall, hopefully next week will be a little bit even more exciting. We'll see some more things. I am starting to work on a project that I'll be able to share very soon. Normal work things and stuff like that. Hopefully very soon. I'm not going to say with. I'm just going to say I'm working on a project that I'll be able to share very soon. Because I say with, that might as well just say what the project is. And then. Look forward for a surprise on Saturday. If you guys get a chance to hang out with me on Saturday,
I know what it is.
look forward to a surprise.
TK had me sign an NDA,
triple NDA, and I made him pinky promise. So there's not just the NDA.
I'm on double secret probation.
So, I'm hoping you guys will enjoy it. I hope you guys will enjoy it's going to be fun. Let's just say that it's going to be absolutely fun, crazy. And yeah, just look forward to that. But I definitely want to say thank you for everybody for hanging out. Of course, for Josh dropping in with us as well. Yeah, everybody. And
well, I'm making that joke because the beginning of this podcast was me explaining how I screwed the embargo on the board. TK probably has me on lock for that.
I not only unlock, and I have people watching all the way. But yeah, no, very, very soon. So just to kind of wrap it out, I guess if there was one thing I would probably say for me, it is actually the OnePlus 9 series was the best of my week. I was excited to get a chance to play with them, and they did not disappoint. It just continued. And I'm still discovering new things to be able to try to do and enjoy them.
I'm preaching to the choir, and I know the folks in this live chat. I mean, again, I'm seeing faces here where we've had conversations. Like I feel like we know each other pretty well as a little tight-knit community here. I'm really over tech reviewers who are over competition, and I'm tired of competition being try to copy Samsung or Apple and then undercut them for price. And now that OnePlus is no longer trying to be the flagship killer, they definitely have some issues that they still need to work on. They still need to address as a corporate climate, as a corporate culture. They deserve scrutiny, but that doesn't mean you pan an individual phone for being different than what you think it should be. And I've seen that undercurrent of OnePlus conversation from last year to this year, that a lot of truisms, a lot of truthy, this is just what OnePluses are. And you're like, that's not what they are. You're grossly oversimplifying something that could be a benefit or could be a help. And again, I think it all comes down to perception and marketing, and not the actual phone that's in someone's hand. And anything that we can do to kind of broaden or expand or celebrate some interesting competition, or highlight where some features are working, or give good feedback when a feature needs to be addressed, is so much more interesting. It's so much more fun to have that conversation than just, better luck next year. I used your phone for a week during embargo and it's just not good enough. Like, that's not a thing. That's someone who's really bad at tech.
Definitely. And conversation should also be around the devices, not just at launch and just a few days after, coming back and circling back with them. But Josh wanted to kind of also throw in his best of his week is the Reno 5 Marvel Edition.
5.
Josh, I'll be coming over at some point.
I nerded out on that phone. That looked really cool.
dude, that nice. But it's like, but that's the thing with Oppo, dude. They always do this, like the League of Legends that he had last year. The was it the Find X2,
Mhm.
and this time it's the Reno 5. Like they do these things. It's okay. Yes, definitely great phone, great video, and I think he also dropped another video this morning. If you guys haven't had to check that out, I think was it the Vivo something with the
Oh, I
built-in
thought
gimbal.
oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. I saw the onslaught of OnePlus videos and Poco videos, and I kind of
Uh,
I'm behind. There are so
yeah,
many of my
I'm
friends' videos that I need to catch up on now,
no,
but
no, definitely. And so, with that being said, I want to say, of course, thank you to everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you to, of course, Juan, Josh, Aditya, everybody else, Gary, of course,
Tech
and of course,
Valor,
Tech Valor, Fat Produce, Paps. I was gonna say,
Paps.
yeah, that everybody, man. And then, of course, all everybody, JGJ, of course, hanging out with us, kicking it on. Oh yeah, Michael Peppertech, of course, on this evening of Thursday, and well, hopefully you're doing well. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Rest of the week, not a weekend. Rest of the week is still Thursday, and we'll
You're
see you
gonna
guys.
want to
Hopefully,
tune into no, the other point, the other direction. You're gonna want to
yeah.
tune into TK's stream this
So
Saturday.
yeah, Saturday morning with tech this week is. Let's just say this: it's going to take it up a notch.
No,
It-
I let's just say what I said. You're gonna want to tune into TK's stream. It's
Make
gonna
sure you tune in. It's going to be a fun one. Yes, we'll definitely deliver. So with that being said, Juan, thank you. Thank everybody else, and take it easy. Hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll see you guys next week on another episode of the rest of our week. And I hope you guys take care.
be well.